He's out of the KWPN Select sale, I just heard, so it's good to see the horses back that we, as Studbook, can sell through our auction stage podiums. What we do in the IBOP is to look and see what's the natural ability, what is the quality of the horse, and also, because it's under the saddle, how's the rideability, because that rideability is important and gets more and more important in selection of horses. It's always good to give the horses the time to get used to the arena. This one did a few hunter schooling shows. Willie, when you look at the horse, what's your first thing that you think?
Yeah, when I look at the horse, the right away is really nice.
You turned it off.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, I see right away very relaxed picture with a horse that carries himself very well, has a very good natural balance, and also he takes the contact really well. He's nice, steady in the connection in the bridle. So those are again rideability and traits that are very important. Yeah, I think like Ralph mentioned already, the rideability becomes and character becomes more and more important for the future. Yeah, and we all know in the jumpers, it's not so much the trot that's important, but you can see here, yeah, that you say that the horse is very well balanced, yeah, and in the trot is very even and it's functional, yeah, and it's a functional mover, and that's usually also then good for the jumping, that are functional and using the body.
When we look at the horses in the riding test, like the IBOP, for the jumpers, the gaits like trot and walk counts one time. For the jumpers, the canter counts twice in a total of points. It's a total of points of 100, and from 75 up, a horse can get the predicate IBOP. Also the reflex and form and scope are the points that count twice in the total. If you look at the horse now, I think we can see a lot of balance in the canter. Every time a nice, same, equal stride. What do you think, Willem?
Yeah, canter shows the same as in the trot, really good balance. Yeah, and it is a good ground covering canter. Yeah, like in the dressage sometimes you see more airtime. Yeah, but in the jumpers they need to cover ground and they need to make up for the speed, and especially in the takeoff for the jump. Yeah, they need to be able to drop the neck. That you can see the horse has not so much a vertical neck than the dressage horse, so he really reaches for the contact, and it's a horse that can easily come off the ground with the withers up. Yeah.
Can you maybe lengthen the strikes a few times? Maybe lengthen the strikes a few times? It's always important when you look at the canter of a jumping horse that you can see that the horse can lengthen the strikes but also can shorten, because that's what's necessary between in the course between the fences, especially between the combinations. A horse needs to be athletic and lengthen and shorten the strides really easy. When you train, Willie, how do you train it? Lengthening the strides, shorten the strides a bit?
Yeah, there's like that, same as in dressage, has to do with the balance in the horse. Yeah, and then the connection you have with the bridle, so that the horse comes back without shortening the neck. Yeah, when he comes back and he shortens the neck, then the strides get shorter, but then you want to make sure that the horse can keep enough length to the neck so he can use his body by the time of takeoff. And if the horse gets the neck too short by the takeoff, yeah, then he cannot use his body well enough. So it's very important that the horse comes back, yeah, on lighter aids, and sometimes you see a big difference in riding, but the more I always say jumping is more like riding dressage over fences. Yeah, so that the horse is balanced, following your hand, relaxed. Yeah, and then the horse can jump the best way in his show his natural talent.
So maybe walk in for a second. It's quite hot, at least I'm from Holland, so it's about a little bit colder over at our place.
Yeah.
Willie, when you start with a young horse, preparing for the IBOP, how do you start?
Yeah, it's a little bit to do with the age, of course, of the horse. If you have a 3-year-old, yeah, or 4 or 5-year-old, that makes a difference. Yeah, but when you have a say you start out with a horse that is started, is ridden, you know, then it's just your regular warm-up where the horse just needs to go in self-carriage. Yeah, learn to follow the hand of the rider. Yeah, and work off your leg so that the horse can, even in trot as in canter, can show its natural talent. The length of the neck is always very important in the dressage. Yeah, so the maximum length in the neck develops a maximum length in the stride. Yeah, so and the IBOP is a big difference with a dressage test. It's not how accurate you ride your circle. It's not how accurate you go through the corners. Yeah, it is showing that the horse can extend and come back so that you have you can ride change of tempo. And I think it also has to do that with the age of the horse. If the horse is 5, yeah, then you need to show that a little bit more. But if you have a 3-year-old, then yeah, making the horse go forward without that he runs, so that he can engage and carry himself. That is important with a 3 or 4-year-old under saddle. Yeah, and but it takes, I would say, for sure, to get a horse prepared for the IBOP, for sure, yeah, between 2 and 3 months, depends on what kind of shape the horse is in when you start. Yeah, but in 2 to 3 months, you should be able to get a horse started and get it prepared and present him correctly at a clearing.
Well, we're talking about 3 months. A horse can be a bit green, for the IBOP.
Sorry?
A horse can be a bit green in the riding for the
Yeah,
IBOP. Eh?
yeah. When they're three, you need to get them started. Then 3 months, you know. Then yeah. And if you have a 4-year-old that is started, yeah, that probably takes a little bit more. And with the with the jumping, in the days that I did a lot of the jumping IBOPs, you know, the jumping was a lot simpler than it is now. So that maybe takes a little bit longer for a jumping horse to prepare. But what I like about jumping IBOP also, that they build it up. You know, it's not something you come in and you need to jump the whole course, but it is, you start, so it is very friendly and inviting for the horse.
Yeah. Okay. So we start jumping. Okay, we start a few times with the cross. Just come on, just trot, just canter, straight on, and then we build it up a little bit. We're going to see how he reacts and discuss about it. And also tell us what you're feeling, because I think that's always important to feel, to have, that we know how a rider feels. Yeah. Okay, the first jump. What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, first jump looked very good. You know, you can see, I think that the horse shows a lot of scope. Yeah, and he maybe over jumps now a little bit, so we'll just have to see how that develops. You know, and you can, but the bascule over the fence is very good, and you could see that already. Or sort of expect that. Yeah, the way the horse travels. You know, he travels nice to the bit, over the back to the rider's hands, and you can see the horse follows the hands and has a lot of trust. So first impression is very good, and we'll see how it develops in the technique. Yeah, for the technique, I think, yeah, Ralph can explain more, but that maybe the front leg can be a little bit more bending and a little bit more folding, but that can also come pretty soon. So there's something, yeah, you just take as it develops and how the horse continues. Yeah.
When I think I saw him now twice over the cross, the first time he was really careful. He has a lot of quality. I think he's careful on the fences.
Yeah.
At least for sure technique. We have to see how the development is still low. You can see always horses with a lot of scope, they don't show so much technique on the lower fences. So that's also why we have to be careful of with giving the points, because technique is always also more than only the front legs. Because what he does really good is using his back, and also how he makes the jump, how he does after the jump. Really easy goes further in canter. Maybe we make a small vertical here.
Yeah, and the two things that for me then jumping horses and dressage horses have in common, they all need to be balanced and they need to come up in the middle. Yeah, a jumper that doesn't come up in the middle is also going to jump forward. Yeah, and a dressage horse that does not come up in the middle is also hard to collect. So those are all mechanical traits in a horse that's for each discipline important.
Then come maybe one time again, and maybe a little bit more canter in between, that you get 5 strides. He jumped really relaxed, and he's looking at the fence. He has a good overview. Good. Maybe one time again. Okay, then you can see when he has to do the 5 strides, he's a little bit lost of balance, but it's also have to get used to it, especially from coming in from trot. Try to keep a little bit more quiet just before the cross. That he makes the 2 trot strides in between the pole and the cross, and then when you land, just follow it a little bit to the vertical. Okay, I think maybe we put it a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, a little bit more forward. You can keep it more straight. You get a lot of nice distance on the second fence. You also get a lot of
The takeoff.
yeah, a lot of takeoff now. And the good thing what I see is that you keep it straight. So he also can make the jump, use his body all over. Eh? So we do a small oxer over there? So we do a small oxer? Yeah.
I think you can see already that the horse changed in the use of his front leg. Yeah, he got a little bit more bending in the knees. Yeah.
Willie, what's for you the difference between a vertical and an oxer when you train the horse?
But you want, when you want to train him, I think the horse needs to wait. You know, you need to ride the horse forward, but that doesn't mean go faster. When you go faster, like the horse, you go a little bit more forward, but each stride covers more ground. And when the horse is not balanced or he's not using his neck or the connection is not good, then the horse just goes quicker, and then you cover more ground also, but then the horse comes by the jump, yeah, inverted, and then the jump is not good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What did you see the difference in the front leg technique between the oxer and the vertical? I think we could all see. Yeah, now you could see his knees went nice up in a nice technique over there. How was the feeling? Better? Yeah, as the jumps get bigger, he jumps better. Well, that's also talent, of course. Eh? Yeah, yeah. It's always good when a horse doesn't do too much on the nice, easy work. Shall we start doing combination? So once turning on the right, maybe the vertical, and then canter through? Really, when you do a combination, what do you want to see in a combination, what a horse does?
Well, how the horse handles himself between the jumps, yeah, and that the horse can, and you can see that by this one, yeah, that the horse doesn't jump forward, so the horse comes up in the middle so he can jump back, and then especially when the oxers come, Yeah, then the highest point of the jump is in the middle of the oxer. Yeah, so it's not by the end rail, and then the horse a lot of times makes a mistake behind. So the horse needs to be able to come back, jump, and then above the sprung open up again. Yeah, and yeah, that's what you call scope. Yeah, and that's something that in the combination you want to see that the horse looks and that the horse times and distances the stride, so that the horse doesn't take over, and that you have pretty soon, if you have a 3-stride, yeah, that you get too close by the last jump.
That was really good. Huh?
Yeah.
Nice. But he isn't panicking. He's really nice and relaxed there, but he's really quick from the ground. Yeah. Do it once again. Yeah, okay. He starts jumping better when it gets higher. Every time you train the horse for the jumping, how do you work with the ground cover, with the poles on the ground?
Yeah, you keep it, especially for younger horses, you know, keep it honest, and the more that you bring the ground pole a little bit more forward, it's just easier for the horse to have the timing, yeah, and that he comes off the ground a little sooner, yeah, and so those are all little tools that you can use to give the horse more confidence, yeah, especially when you have a horse that is very careful. Yeah, you have to be careful with jumping, that the horse doesn't lose trust. Yeah, and but that's a little bit by every horse a little different. But the carefulness in a horse is something that a horse naturally has. You know, they have to be willing to stay away from the poles. You know, it's not, yeah, because otherwise you have a horse that in the jump off later on, yeah, is always going to be then just one day short, yeah, and make a mistake when it gets tight. If you have a horse, and you see that in the bigger courses too, yeah, the riders, they can just give it all, you know, and the horses are in it, you know, they just don't want to touch those rails, yeah. And that's a very important trait.
What I thought that was really a difference now, how he used his back and how he used his hind legs, and he opened also on the jump. Shall we put a little bit higher maybe?
Yeah, and then opening up behind, obviously there's also a natural talent in a horse, but it also, the horse needs to be allowed to do that, yeah? If the horse comes in, yeah, inverted and too short in the neck, yeah, then it's for the horse impossible to open up behind, yeah? So the neck is, the horse needs to use for the bascule, yeah? The bascule in a jumping horse is very important, and if the bascule is good, then usually the landing is good, yeah, and then the horse canters forward right away after the jump too, and not that he lands and it just takes time to cover ground again.
Okay. He starts jumping better when it gets higher. Every time you see a better use of the body. Yeah, I think we can give it applause for that.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I think it's good, and I think that's important too, that you never overdo it with the jumping. You know, it's Yeah, you need to school and train and have gymnastics, you know, but the way the horse handles himself under the rider, yeah, is way more important to make the jumping better, or get the max out of the horse. It's not how often you jump, but it's how you jump in and how you have your horse prepared and on the aids. Yeah.
And when you do an IBOP or a riding test, how you call it, and you have fences like this, we have time enough also to get an impression of the quality of the horse, the strong points and the points that can be improved. And we take the time, you can work on it. You can see it also. And we started on a small cross. He jumped really quick from the ground and really high, a little bit the front legs like this, and like this. And then when you go on and you see in the end of the test, yeah, you see the horse changing, and that's why you have to take the time for it. And of course, it's a 7-year-old, but with not so much maybe experience, but he's doing a really good job. And really, when you think, what are the strong points of the horse in your opinion when we saw him like this?
The horse?
Yeah.
The horse, yeah, the strong points are for sure the rideability, the scope, yeah, the ability to open up above the jump. You know, you can see it, the oxer here, and actually the second one also too, that in air time he could open up again, yeah, and that is scope, and that is also something you cannot teach him. That's a horse, they have it and they don't. Yeah, you can restrict them, but you cannot make it better. You can only allow the horse to use his natural talent, yeah, but you can see that on the jump here, that he has a huge ability to do that, yeah, and that is important for going to the higher levels, yeah. So I think it's a very talented horse, and he jumps and he handles everything very economically. He grows economically, so that looks like a horse that's going to last for a long time too. Yeah.
I'll totally agree when you say with the strong point. So yeah, super. Well, thank you. I don't know if there are any questions.
Is he going to wind up an event horse? Because Bethany's an event rider.
Well, if he's efficient and economical, he certainly could be.
Oh, I was wondering now, I know Bethany's an event rider now. Is that her plan for this horse?
Oh. Bethany, is it your plan to do eventing with him?
He'll tell me. He's going to do his first recognizing event this weekend at Florida Horse Park. And he's very spooky, which is a good thing, I think, for show jumpers. It's realistic and everything later on in their career in show jumping. But to my surprise, when I took him cross country school, he loved it. And he went to all
Willie, we can't hear her.
Oh, wait. We're going to have to
It's undecided. He's going to do his first recognized event this weekend at the Florida Horse Park. I thought he'd be kind of too spooky and too careful to do cross country, and to my surprise, the few times he's been out, he actually doesn't over jump and he jumps things out of stride. He seems to really enjoy himself. So I think it's good for their brains. I'll produce him in both directions, and wherever he'll excel is what he'll do.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good luck. Yeah.